Okay. We're waiting for the live stream to show up on YouTube.
I have a question. What are we going to be looking at when it goes live? Oh, I guess we have a minute. Maybe it's too late. Never mind.
Just at your screen.
Just at the screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Not at any people.
No, pretend there's an audience in front of you. Yeah.
Right. We're not even going to see each other. It's kind of, are we going to see each other?
Well, it's funny because right now I can't see the timekeeper.
Right.
Right. Can you guys see her or no? Maybe
No.
If you scroll, can you
Yes.
see her? Yeah. Then
I
you
can now. Thank you.
That's because I'm showing.
Barbara says we're live.
All right.
Good evening. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of the Morristown area, I'm pleased to welcome you to our virtual forum for the Morris School District Board of Education. Deb, have we started? My name is Donna Gariglia. I am co-president of the Morristown Area League of Women Voters. The League is a nonpartisan political organization that encourages informed and active participation in government, works to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influences public policy through education and advocacy. Empowering voters, defending democracy is our message. Elections and voting are core concerns for the League. We are committed to providing fact-based information about issues and positions candidates take on those issues to help voters make their own decisions and participate in the electoral process. We envision a democracy where everybody has the right, the knowledge, the confidence, and the opportunity to participate. The League of Women Voters never supports or opposes candidates for office or political parties. Any use of the League name or footage from this debate in campaign materials, literature, or advertising of any kind, including internet, cable, or television, has not been authorized by the League of Women Voters. Co-sponsoring this event, we welcome the Morris County NAACP and thank Jackie Cobb, Executive Secretary for the Morris County branch, who's also a fellow League member, for working with us. The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People is a multi-ethnic coalition of freedom fighters who are in pursuit of the beloved community. The NAACP was founded in 1909 in response to the ongoing violence against Black people around the country. It is the largest and most preeminent civil rights organization in the nation. They have over 2,200 units and branches across the country, along with well over 2 million activists. The mission is to secure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of rights in order to eliminate race-based discrimination and ensure the health and well-being of all persons. We look forward to our continued work with Jackie and the NAACP. If you would like to participate in any of our efforts, the League actively seeks diversity within our membership. You must be 16 years old and a US citizen to be a voting member. We also have associate membership, which is open to everyone. We encourage you to go to vote411.org, which provides a one-stop site for information on all aspects of voting in New Jersey, as well as information on all candidates up and down the ballot. All of our forums are being live streamed on the LWVMA YouTube channel. Future confirmed forums include the Chatham Borough Council tomorrow night, October 1st at 7 p.m. On October 12th, the Morris County Freeholder Candidates Forum at 7:30 p.m. And on October 15th, the Chatham Township Committee at 7 p.m. If you have questions about voting, your mail-in ballots, or in-person voting, please go to our website at lwvmorrisarea.org. We have a list of webinars that you can join so you can become educated and if you have any questions. Mail-in ballots are being mailed out, but they're going in phases. If you have not received your ballot yet, you shouldn't worry. By probably October 9th, if you haven't received a ballot, you should call the county clerk's office. This is a totally paper ballot election. So even if you go to vote on election day, you will be filling out a paper ballot. Additional local forums, as well as forums for Legislative District 25 for Assembly and Senate, are in the works and will be posted once they're confirmed. At this time, I would like to welcome our moderator, Lisa Winkler. Per league practice, she is not from our voting district. Lisa is a league-trained moderator and a member of the Berkeley Heights New Providence Summit League of Women Voters. She will now introduce the candidates and outline the format for this evening.
Thank you, Donna. Good evening. Welcome to everyone watching live streaming in this unusual election year and format. And welcome to the candidates. I'm Lisa Winkler, a member of the Berkeley Heights New Providence Summit League of Women Voters. This forum is for the 2 seats for the Morristown representatives on the Morris School District Board of Education. We have 4 candidates. They are Meredith Davidson, Elisabeth Wall, Oliver Starnes, and Vivian Rodriguez. Before we begin with the questions submitted by the public, each candidate has 2 minutes to present an opening statement. Following that, the candidates will be asked each question. The order has been chosen by lot. Each candidate has 1 minute to answer each question. Any candidate may request a rebuttal after all the candidates have answered the question and has 30 seconds to do so. The order for the opening statements will be alphabetical, beginning with Ms. Davidson, followed by Ms. Rodriguez, Mr. Starnes, and Ms. Wall. The closing statements will follow the reverse alphabet. So we'll begin with our opening statements. Please, everybody, mute yourself while everyone else is talking and unmute when you are. Thank you. So we'll begin with Ms. Davidson.
Hi, good evening. My name is Meredith Davidson, and I want to start by thanking the League and the NAACP for hosting tonight. And I want to thank all of you folks out there watching for coming tonight. Clearly, you have a passion for our schools, and I'm here tonight with that same passion so that we can see all of our students reach their potential. We have a great district, and I'm committed to making our district even better. For my entire adult life, I've been working with people to improve their communities. I've worked with families of people in prison, farmers in Central America, and during this pandemic with neighbors here in Morristown to share food with struggling families. I've been a high school teacher, and I know it's one of the toughest and most important jobs in the world. Through my 7 years in the district, I've supported my own children, but always had a greater goal in mind to help our schools to always do better. During my 3 years on the board, I've been committed to improving communication and collaboration with schools and families, supporting staff, and boosting achievement across the board. But there's certainly more work to be done. 3 things I'll continue to do as a representative on the school board: push for academic achievement for all student groups, advocate for communication and collaboration so that students and families feel welcome and engaged, and keep listening to and working with you. I ran 3 years ago because I was engaged, and so many of you on this Zoom call were too. So I'd like to finish by thanking you, our engaged audience, for your passion. And I promise to share that same passion with you over the next 3 years by staying engaged and working for all students to feel challenged, welcome, and to reach their potential. Thank you.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Hi, good evening. I also would like to begin by thanking the League of Women Voters and also the NAACP for this wonderful opportunity to speak with the public today. Good evening. Who am I? I am a mom. I'm a grandma of 2 children, Evan and Amelia. Like you, I am very concerned about what is going on with regards to the pandemic and other issues that are going on in our society. I am a child advocate with 39 years of experience in working in the New Jersey public schools. You give your children to the school district and to the Board of Education. You give your most valuable possessions to us, and it is our responsibility. And it is also the responsibility of the superintendent of schools and the school community to have, and we have a duty to be vigilant and ensure that our students are getting the very, very best. What I mean by that is that we need to provide choices for all of our students because choices have power. We need to chase equity for all children, and we need to cultivate possibilities so that all children are provided with the very best to choose from, so that they can shine and so that we can provide for them all that is available in this wonderful country that we live in. Thank you.
Mr. Starnes.
Good evening, and thank you, League of Women Voters, Morristown Area, and thank you to the NAACP Morris County branch. My name is Oliver Starnes. I'm running for the Morris School District Board of Education. I guess I'll start by just going back to this summer. I was part of a 10-week human rights campaign whereby youth from across the county would get together on a weekly basis and provide their communities with education as it relates to racial issues in the country, in the county, in the state. And through that, it was very clear and obvious that the best way to affect systemic change is at your local school board. And this comes from looking at the curriculum, not only of Morris School District, but Morris Plains School District, as well as a variety of other municipalities across the county. That 10-week human rights campaign also included attending a variety of different school boards from across the county. In this day and age of Zoom school board meetings, we were able to do that. And from that, I was able to better appreciate where Morris School District is and get an idea of where I believe that it should go. So I am running because the school board is the best way to affect systemic change in the local level. And I bring that experience of being the only Black student in a classroom of majority white students. And it's just a dynamic that I can speak to with, extreme clarity. So I'd like to bring my life experience to the school board from Morristown. Thank you.
Ms. Wall.
Good evening. I'm Beth Wall. I'm excited to be here. I also would like to thank our hosts, the League of Women Voters of the Morristown area, our co-sponsors, the Morris County NAACP, my fellow candidates, and also the viewers at home. I was born and raised in Morris County. I've been working, volunteering, and living in Morristown, or some combination of the three, for nearly 20 years. Morristown means a great deal to me. And over the last 2 decades, I have devoted my time to serving our community. Beginning with the Junior League of Morristown, which I joined fresh out of law school, I remained a member for 16 years. Soon after, my husband Mike and I purchased our first home in the Washington headquarters area of town. I served as president of our well-known neighborhood association for 4 years. We have a son, Braden, who is now a first grader at Normandy Park School. I currently serve as the treasurer of our Normandy Park Home and School Association, and I've been active with many fundraisers and school events since Braden began as a kindergartner last fall. I also currently serve as an appointed member on the Morristown Zoning Board of Adjustment. As a parent who is new to the Morris School District, I sincerely appreciate how our current board, superintendent, and administration have worked cooperatively and effectively to manage our schools, especially during this time of extraordinary challenges. No system is perfect. Evolution is necessary, and I would like nothing more than to join this dedicated team so that I may continue their admirable work and add value in the best way that I can. I think that my experience as an attorney, my experience as a leader and volunteer in our community, and my vested interest in the educational experience of every child in our community make me ideally suited to serve on the Board of Education. Thank you.
Great. We will now begin the questions submitted by the public. The first question, again, these were chosen by lot. I put names on slips of paper and pulled them out. And then we'll rotate through. The first question will begin with Ms. Wall, then Mr. Starnes, Ms. Davidson, and Ms. Rodriguez. And the first question is, what benefit does the school district receive from any of the pilot programs in Morristown or Morris Township? What role should board members play in helping the schools receive their fair share?
Okay, thank you. The thing is, I think that the pilot programs provide an opportunity for our town, because usually it is in some sort of development, and it allows our town to address neglected areas, to improve our business, our commerce, to provide jobs, residents, children into our schools, that will hopefully then become full circle. We will have more revenue in our community. We will provide, more commerce in town, like I mentioned. And I don't see that any town, especially ours, would ever let our school district go without. I'm not privy to any types of agreements, the details, certainly not. But I know that we will receive what we need for our children.
Oh, sorry, Ms. Davidson.
I know this has been a question that has been raised various times throughout the past decade as Morristown has experienced a lot of development. And I think the municipality has played a major role in encouraging that. One of the things that is common, I think, throughout the state is that, especially during this pandemic, everybody is struggling, municipalities, school districts. And I think that right now, the town is negotiating a pilot agreement with the M station. So this is fresh. And I believe that there has been some discussion about sharing some of that money with the district. I think this is a step in the right direction. And I think it also illustrates the importance of collaborating with the municipality, because when we all work together as a district, municipality, and organizations, our students do better.
Ms. Rodriguez, just go straight ahead.
I would like to say that whenever a municipality is looking at any kind of a pilot, we should be very forward thinking, not only thinking of the here and now, but what implications such decisions make for the future of the municipality, including the school district. I think that communications between the Board of Education, the superintendent, and the municipality is imperative. Thank you.
I apologize. Lisa, would you mind repeating the question?
Sure, I think I messed up the order.
Lisa, you went back on mute.
Okay. Okay, you hear me now? Okay. What benefit does the school district receive from any of the pilot programs in Morristown or Morris Township? What role should board members play in helping the schools receive their fair share?
So earlier this morning, I attended a webinar hosted by the New Jersey School Board Association, and it was pretty informative. They laid out a lot. One of them was something about taking positions prior to things being formally discussed. And so because it's fresh in my mind and because I'm not well versed on this matter, that's the kind of guidance I'm going to take right now. I don't want to put like a position on that, but just to say that the school board is a team. Our school district is a 10-member team, and all 10 people should be working together for the benefit of our students and our community.
Any rebuttals to the first question? No? Okay, we will move on. The order for the second question is Ms. Wall 2, and I'll start from the top. Ms. Rodriguez 1, Ms. Wall 2, Mr. Starnes 3, Ms. Davidson 4. And in the interest of time, after the one person answers, why don't you just come right in? So you don't really need me in between. So the question is, can you briefly share your understanding of the purpose of the Amistad Bill passed into law in 2002? How would you help advocate for a more inclusive curriculum that includes contributions of African and African Americans in the United States? And again, we'll start with Ms. Rodriguez, Ms. Wall, Mr. Starnes, Ms. Davidson.
So the Amistad is a wonderful thing that we have in New Jersey. And we have incorporated the curriculum, the Amistad curriculum, throughout all of our districts. It's a mandate, it is the law. And we have in the district where I'm presently Assistant Superintendent of Schools in Curriculum and Instruction, we work very arduously in not only providing that addendums to all the curriculum guides, but to also include courses at the high school level that are specifically for this purpose. In addition, every year we send teachers, social studies teachers in particular, to be trained on the Amistad curriculum by the State Department of Education. I think not Amistad is a beginning, but we have to inspect what we expect. And one of the things that I would like to see is that is done in our district.
Lisa, could you please repeat the question?
Can you share your understanding of the purpose of the Amistad Bill passed into law in 2002? And how would you help advocate for a more inclusive curriculum that includes contributions of African and African Americans in the United States?
Okay, thank you. I'll be honest, I am not specifically familiar with the Amistad law, but I am familiar with equity and inclusion. And, I absolutely believe that it's something that we need to continue to add to our curriculum and to continue to implement with throughout the school district. I know that we have an equity and inclusion action plan that is currently being implemented. And I believe in there, it addresses everything from curriculum to including more diverse teachers, a wide range of programs. And I would say that we should continue on that very path, continue to do better and not sit on our laurels, continue to strive to do better and better. Thank you.
So I believe I was a freshman in high school when this law was passed. I wish it was passed much sooner. And although it is law, from what my experience tells me is that it's not necessarily being enforced as strictly as it could be. And I'm speaking strictly within the county, not necessarily anyplace else. The Amistad Law to me is a mandate for school districts to tell, the whole narrative, an inclusive narrative of our country's founding, which is really a narrative about slavery. And so the Amistad Law was enacted to ensure African American history was taught in the school district. So as a school board member, I would like to work with the curriculum committee to ensure we're doing the most that we can in that area.
Look, I think that for decades here in Morristown and Morris Township, Morris Plains, we've taken pride in our diversity. And I think that we need to show that we mean it. And as Ms. Rodriguez already spoke to the purpose of the Amistad Bill, and I agree with her that it is a beginning. And I agree with Mr. Starnes that it is, about enforcement. So we need to really come together, and we need a research-based curriculum. We need to train our teachers in culturally responsive teaching practices. We need to make sure that they are familiar with the standards and that they're being taught every day in the classroom. And that's part of the board's role, is in oversight. So I think that, again, we need to show that we mean it, that we're committed to diversity, we're committed to, respecting different cultures, and to moving ahead and doing better.
Any rebuttals to the second question? Nope. Okay, we're going to move on. The third question: should the social studies curriculum include a more thorough civics education course to include municipal, county, state, and federal government legislative branches? And we will start with Ms. Rodriguez, second Ms. Wall, then Mr. Starnes. I'm sorry, that was two. We will start with Ms. Davidson, then Ms. Rodriguez, then Ms. Wall, then Mr. Starnes. I'll get this right soon.
I think this kind of goes back to the previous question where, we might have standards on the books, but we need to make sure that teachers are trained and prepared to teach civics. Obviously, here we are at the candidate forum because we believe in representing our communities, and we believe that it matters and makes a difference in our schools. So we need to start teaching our kids that from the get-go. By modeling that, setting up situations where they can be representatives for their own school communities. So yes, I think I answered the question. Thank you.
I guess I'm next. What I like to say about the civics curriculum is yes, and yes. We need to make sure that the civics is taught at the high school level, but why not also at the middle school level? We have right now in our high school, we have a communications academy. And one of the strengths of that academy is about not only civics, but also international communication. And I believe that both are very related, being that we are in a country that is a global community. We're part of a global community. We need to not just learn about our civic duties as Americans, but also how are we better as global citizens? Thank you.
Oh, Lisa, I'm sorry, you're on mute. Could you please repeat it one last time?
Should the social studies curriculum include a more thorough civics education course to include municipal, county, state, and federal government legislative branches?
Okay, absolutely. Yes to all of it. I definitely took civics when I was in high school, and it was probably one of the best classes I ever took. I think that that is a very smart idea. I think we need to provide our students with a wide range of programs. We're preparing these children to be, contributing members of society. So exposing them to each and everything that we possibly can to help them along that path and to be able to go out into the world and solve problems and be contributing members. I think that that really is something that's important. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for this question. I think when you look at the landscape of the country, there are states that do not have elections every year. New Jersey is not one of them. We have elections every single year for something. And I think that there's so much to learn. There's almost no excuse not to have it in the social studies curriculum. From 2000, since I returned home from college with degrees in political science and public policy, I was interning with the Morris County Democratic Committee, and that is where I received my, education about the landscape in terms of what is county committee? How do you run for county committee? What does county committee do? And today this year it all came to a head because there in March, there's a special election this year, and the 25th legislative district is the only statewide race this year. And in order to participate in the primary for that race, you had to be a part of the Democratic Committee. And so, yeah, it should be added to the social studies curriculum.
Okay, any rebuttals to that question? Number 3. Okay, question number 4. How will you ensure that our students, especially children in grades K through 5, receive a thorough review of necessary skills in math and language arts that may be lacking due to the pandemic? And we will start with Mr. Starnes, followed by Ms. Davidson, followed by Ms. Rodriguez and Ms. Wall.
So firstly, I think it's vitally important that we work in very genuine partnership with the members of the Morris Plains School District. We need them to ensure that both district curriculums, at least, if not are fully aligned, at least resemble each other, because right now that's not the case. I think, quite frankly, Mars School District is a step ahead, and I think that we need to do our best to bring Morris Plains up to speed. And so in that effort, I believe everything that you mentioned can be accomplished: a thorough review of each area of these students' education and how are they being prepared for Morris Plains School District students, for example, how are they being prepared to enter, a regional high school? I understand that the question was about K through 5, but it's just, yeah, so that's my answer.
All right, I think it's my turn. Look, I think we all realize that our community and our schools have been tested over the past 6 months. Folks are struggling at home, just being together with online learning, some with job loss and food insecurity. And I think that our administration has done a fantastic job getting us back to school. Students have gotten in to understand health and safety routines, opportunities to get their Chromebook. So every single student in our district has a Chromebook and access to lunch every day. And they have had time to connect with their teachers. We're in the process of, and we need to continue to assess where students are to determine if they need extra reading help, if they need to play catch up so they can, or work differently so they can pass their AP tests in the spring. I'm confident we're doing all of these things, but we need to be vigilant so that all students are where they need to be.
I'm sorry, am I next? Is it my turn? Yes? Okay. Data-driven decision-making. That is a critical piece in working any kind of a system, but in particular, a public school system. I like to say that, and I am confident that this district does that and probably does that very well. You need to make sure that you have a district-wide assessment, not just the state assessment. As we can see, we didn't even have state assessments last year. Benchmark assessments, so that we could look at every once in a while, how are we working with our standards, and a way to fill in those learning gaps for our students, whether it is through tutoring or whatever we are able to do within the contractual situation. The Board of Education's major role is policy. So we must look at that in terms of data and other things.
Ms. Wall.
I agree with Vivian. We definitely need to make data-driven decisions, and I am very confident that our current superintendent is very much on board with that. Just the second week of my son's first grade year, he was already being assessed in reading. So I know that they're on top of it. I think we certainly need, I think our district definitely keeps an eye on learning gap. I'm not as concerned about the K through 5s. I believe we will get them caught up when they need to be as a result of COVID and what's been happening. What I'm more concerned about is making sure we provide ample resources and focus on our children's mental health, their emotional and behavior development, and how that may have been affected and may continue to be affected by this pandemic and the changes that they've had to withstand. But these little guys, they're resilient, so we'll be okay.
Okay, any rebuttals to that question from any of the candidates, to anyone else? No, an agreeable group. The next question is in line with the previous one, and some of you touched on it. Could you be maybe more specific about what kind of review would be required of the high school AP classes to ensure students in those classes are up to par when AP testing arrives in the spring of 2021? And the order, we're back at the beginning, is Ms. Wall, Mr. Starnes, Ms. Davidson, and Ms. Rodriguez.
And I'm so sorry, Lisa, put one more time, would you mind?
Okay. Just to be more specific about how you would undertake a review of the high school AP classes to ensure students are up to par when the testing arrives in the spring of 2021.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like I said, I really believe that our district has an eye on the learning gap. I believe that based on data that is taken through assessments, our district will make decisions that ensure that our students are up to speed. I don't think this is something that's getting through the cracks, nor do I think that we would ever let it. Specifically how it would be done, I actually do not know yet. I'm not on the board yet, but it's my understanding that, as these situations come up, we analyze, we discuss, and we come up with the best possible policy and the best possible strategy to help our children succeed. I mean, we want our students to succeed, and the Morris School District Advantage, that's what we're going to do. Thank you.
Mr. Starnes.
Thank you. I would say that the best answer to that question would probably come from the superintendent, just based on my understanding of kind of the superintendent being the day-to-day manager of everything, the school operations, and he's really in the weeds on that. And for our role as a school board, we are sort of telling him how to go about it. So yeah, I guess it's a tough question to answer, being a candidate, having never served on the school board before. I will say for my part, I'm very interested in fostering parent groups for children at all levels, namely, students of color. The achievement isn't perhaps where I'd like it to be. So, but again, this is about all students. But I'm saying fostering parent groups is important, especially when we're talking about AP testing. learning strategies, like what are your kids doing to, you know, prepare for this, and like just sharing ideas with each other, because I think that would be helpful.
Ms. Davidson.
I agree with Mr. Starnes saying that this is the job of the superintendent to make sure that the instruction is being planned accordingly so that students can be successful in the AP test. I think as a board member, we can ask for regular updates on how we are assessing that students are progressing through the curriculum at a regular pace. I know that what I've heard anecdotally is that students are getting a lot of homework. So, you know, some of that learning might have to be happening in a different way, and through teacher assessment is how we figure out if the students are in fact on the correct timeline. And that's something that we can ask as board members in committee.
Ms. Rodriguez. Unmute. Unmute.
I'm sorry. The first thing with AP is we have to remember that every summer there is training for teachers in AP, and all our teachers should receive training from the College Board on how to do the latest thing with AP. It is critical. Also, there are now online resources for AP, but because many of our children are receiving online instruction. So we must make sure that we have the proper resources for them. SAT day, making sure that all the students are taking the SAT, and it has to be live. They no longer, they are not doing it online. And review of all the AP classes, making sure that all our students are given the same opportunity to be part of an SAT class, even if maybe they don't take the test. But shouldn't they also be given that opportunity? Thank you.
Great. Any rebuttals to any of the comments? No? Okay, moving on. Question number 6, changing the subject a bit. There is talk again at the state level about regionalization of the K-8 schools. If elected, are you prepared to begin talks with the Morris Plains Board of Education? And we will start, Ms. Rodriguez, you will start, followed by Ms. Wall, Mr. Starnes, and Ms. Davidson.
I remember being a student at Kane University for my master's degree and having my professor, Dr. Celso, talk about, you want to solve the problem in New Jersey? Here's what you can do. And he talked about this many, many years ago. This is nothing new. This is something New Jersey has known, that we have very, very small districts throughout the state that could be regionalized. So am I prepared? Yes, I am. I'm very prepared as a board member to have that kind of discussion.
Ms. Wall.
I agree with what Vivian said. I too am prepared to have this type of discussion. Again, I think we need to take these issues one at a time as they come. I would love a lot more information. So I'm not feeling very prepared to make an absolute statement, but bring it on. Any issues, I am more than willing to discuss. Thank you.
Mr. Starnes.
Yeah, I would agree with what's been shared already. Without taking a position, I'm always open to talk about anything. I will say that I believe there are more school districts in the state of New Jersey than municipalities. I believe we have 565 municipalities. So the need for regionalization is there. Just taking it one step at a time, like Ms. Wall said previously, is important. Thank you.
Ms. Davidson.
In my experience as a board member and going to various workshops, I have met some folks from districts with 300 kids. So they're paying superintendent and a business administrator, et cetera. So I believe that the impetus for this is to be, more efficient and hopefully more cost effective. So I'd definitely be open to having talks with Morris Plains about this. I think, what we've done well in the Morris School District is to already act as one community with the Morristown and Morris Township. And I think that to do this effectively with Morris Plains, we would have to do something that helps all kinds of efforts in our district, which is to communicate about it, to communicate, sit down with families, talk about what that would look like and get feedback. Our schools belong to our communities, so that's imperative. Thank you.
Okay. Any comments to each other? Rebuttals on any of this so far? Oh, okay. Next question addresses the pandemic again. If elected, how will you ensure that all our students are able to access their schools' daily online lessons if the pandemic continues? We will begin with Ms. Davidson, Ms. Rodriguez, Ms. Wall, and Mr. Starnes. Unmute. I'm gonna mute.
Sorry. Okay, here I am. As I said before, we've been tested. The staff has been pushed to work longer and harder. The tech teams are working 24/7 to make sure that our students have access. We have teachers dropping into classrooms to make sure that students have Wi-Fi at home. As I said before, everybody has a Chromebook. I think that we are well positioned to be successful at home, but it's not going to be easy. And I think it's going to take vigilance. It's going to take a lot of phone calls home, and it's going to take continuing strong lines of communication between parents, the community partners, and the schools to make this work.
I believe I'm next. Okay. To answer the question, I think the first thing we need is to re-envision this coming school year and determine what education will look like, not just now, but in the future. Making sure that we have a good home remote learning system is imperative. We have to make sure all students have devices. If we have to provide Wi-Fi source for parents of students who do not have access to the internet, that is what the CARE Act money should be spending on. And I'm sure that Morristown is doing that and more. But I think it is imperative to make sure that this area of remote instruction is really done very, very well. And we're learning every day how to do it better.
Okay, how to ensure that our kids can access their online lessons going forward? This is actually a topic I think is more suited for our superintendent. I mean, in terms of focus, the Board of Education is the what, and our superintendent is the how. So he's going to be the microscope, we're the telescope. I think that it's up to him and his administration to make sure that all the children are provided with the technology that they need, that the Wi-Fi is accessible. I do know that Mackie has always, or since I've been around in the school district, sought feedback from our parents, our community stakeholders, our teachers and faculty. So it's all about information gathering to see what's working and what's not. I mean, certainly we're going to have to evaluate and improve our processes as we go along. And that's just, the learning that comes along with a pandemic that no one ever expected. So I'm quite certain that, Mackie and his administration will be able to handle it with our overseeing.
Yeah, so I'm grateful that Ms. Davidson started off answering this question through her experience on the board already, like navigating the pandemic. Also grateful for her comment earlier about all of the students receiving Chromebooks. I think for my part, I would like to really stress the importance of access to internet. I think that at one point, very recently, it may have been considered a luxury, but for people like me especially, that is it's a lifeline. So we need to treat it as a as a utility. Access to internet is a utility, and that's a major hurdle for some people. So outside of that, I'll say I've been following the school board very closely. Obviously, having being a candidate, and from what I've seen, it's really impressive to think about the scale of work that's being done amid everything that's going around us. And people are doing this all across the country. So I'm grateful for what's in place here, and keep doing better.
Great. Any comments to each other, questions, rebuttals on that one? Okay, number 8 is kind of the reverse of what we just had. There are major issues in the community with parents working full-time and needing full-time school sessions. What needs to be done, or how will you address these needs and to ensure the safety of all students and staff? So essentially, it's what has to be done to reopen schools full-time. Or do you see that happening even? And the order, sorry, will be Mr. Starnes, Ms. Davidson, Ms. Rodriguez, and Ms. Wall.
Lisa, I apologize. Would you please? I know.
Sure. It's about, don't shoot the messenger here. I didn't write these. There are major issues in the community with parents working and needing full-time school sessions. So how you address the needs and the safety of all of our students and staff. And essentially, to me, that means, what needs to be done to go back to in school, full-time in school.
Right. That's a massive question that I'll be honest, I don't have the answer to. I will say that through effective lines of communication between the school board members, between the administration, the superintendent, and most importantly, the parents of our students, keep that maintained, keep everybody on the same page. Everybody has the same information. That's all very important. I think, again, referencing this 10-week campaign, human rights campaign I was on this summer, it became obvious that, police officers are more than just police officers. They do a range of different things, and that's equally, if not more, true for the school board. So, just for those of you, I want you all to understand that I'm aware that the schools provide somewhat of a safety net for our community and our full-time working parents and that. So I understand the importance of that. And that's top of mind for me. Thank you.
Ms. Davidson.
I think, first of all, I empathize with or sympathize with the question. I understand it's so hard. It is hard being home. It's hard to find childcare. It is hard to even help our kids navigate technology, depending on your age. So, I think everybody wants to go back. We really do. But we have to do the right thing and keep kids safe. And again, we're going to do that by following the guidelines from the local health department and by staying safe ourselves and making smart decisions and limiting our exposure. It is, again, it's hard. It takes vigilance every single day. And, I'm trying not to argue with my kids every single day. Put the mask on. You have to be 6 feet away. We can't see our friends like we used to. But we have to make the best of it. And when the health department says that we're ready, we'll go back.
I agree with Ms. Davidson and what her statements. If we have to be data driven, and we have to be looking at the health department and for what are the procedures that we must follow. Also, the governor gives mandates with regards to how we come back, when we come back. There are very strict plans that were written to the state, the rollback plan that was submitted by each district, and we must follow those plans and wait for some kind of a more direction from the state as to what happens next. I listen to the Governor Murphy speak every Friday like you do, watching to see what he's going to say about education. He spoke about 11 districts or counties already who've had students have to be placed on remote instruction. I know Morristown has had one incident.
I agree with much of what my fellow candidates have said. This is hard, you know, and I do believe that in-person teaching obviously is the most beneficial for our children. I think many would agree, but slow and steady wins the race. I think we need to be we need to do our data-driven decision-making in this case. We need to continue to align with the New Jersey Department of Education, the local health department, recommendations from the CDC, and we need to be smart. And I think, like Meredith had touched upon, we as a community need to continue to do the right thing. Wear your masks, you know, social distance, wash your hands, and you know, we'll get through it. I've been pretty pleased with our district so far. I think we're doing a good job, knock on wood. I'm not trying to jinx us, but we'll get there. But it has to be meaningful and thoughtful and slow to keep our children safe, as well as our faculty and staff.
Any rebuttals, questions for each other? No? Okay. Two more questions and then your closing statement. So how will you address the needs of the Fralinghausen Middle School students with regards to their educational assessments? And we'll start with Ms. Wall, Mr. Starnes, Ms. Davidson, and Ms. Rodriguez.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
How will you address the needs of the Fralinghausen Middle School students with regards to their educational assessments?
In that they're at home learning half the time? Oh, I'm not quite sure. I think that, you know, again, I'm not on the board yet, but it's my understanding that these things are being looked at by the superintendent and his administration, and that assessments will be done as well as they can be during this difficult time for everyone. Hybrid is certainly difficult. I know the kids are only in school 2 times a week. So as we go further, I think we'll probably have more information and be able to make those decisions based on that.
Mr. Starnes.
Thank you. To me, this goes back to the parent groups, understanding again that the superintendent is responsible for a lot of the legwork that comes with assessing our students. For my part, I would really like to play a big role in fostering parent groups. The achievement of our students has improved remarkably well. I think perhaps amongst the best in the state. And even with that, I think there are still some notable gaps. Like there's some stagnation going on among student groups who are not, they're not, you know, we need to mitigate those gaps through parents, through parent groups. And I'm raising my hand and I'm here to do what I have to do in order to get parents together to discuss strategies on how to support, you know, our students.
Ms. Davidson.
I think we spoke before, all of us, about the need for a constant assessment so we know where students are. One of the things that we've done well in the district is to do the data-driven instruction, use data to inform our practices And we've used that actually very effectively at Frelinghuysen Middle School in the past few years to dramatically raise test scores and achievement. This is something that has achieved state notoriety, kind of back to what Oliver was saying, that we have made significant gains. That said, I do think that we need to make more gains at the K-5 level. For decades, research has been clear that students need to be strong readers by 3rd grade, and they have a much better chance for success in middle school, high school, and beyond when they are strong readers by 3rd grade. I'm proud of all the work that's done at Frelinghuysen Middle School, but I think we need to do more at the early grades. We have, oh, I'm getting the red, so that's it.
Ms. Rodriguez.
I would agree that this is a literacy conversation that we're having here. At the elementary level, we're learning to read. At the middle school learning level, we're reading to learn. So if the students don't have a strong foundation at the elementary level, they're not going to be successful at the middle school level. What happens at the high school is sometimes the maturity level kicks in, and most of the work is done at the 8th grade level, reading level, so they're able to do well. I would say that we need to look closely at what is happening with the literacy at the middle grades. But nationally, middle schoolers tends to have a dip in their learning during those years. And if you look at national level assessment results, you will see that this is pretty much consistent with other places in the United States.
Okay, and what was next? That's it. Do we have any rebuttals on that one? Any questions for each other? Comments? Okay, your last question before your opening statement, closing statements. As a candidate, how have you engaged with families in our communities to determine their needs and concerns? And we'll start with Ms. Wall, Mr. Starnes, Ms. Davidson, and Ms. Rodriguez. I messed up, but oh well.
Essentially, you know, I'm an active member of our community. I am involved in so much, including my very own neighborhood. So whether it's through school, sports, neighborhood, organizations that I'm involved with, I talk to everybody, you know, and I feel like I'm very approachable. People love to talk to me about issues or bring them forward to me. And so just engaging generally with parents and learning about any types of concerns they have, certainly learning, getting earfuls about, you know, COVID and schooling and what to do, send your kid, don't send your kid. I mean, these types of conversations come up all the time. So just being out in my community generally and talking to as many people as I can.
Mr. Starnes.
So, Ray, I would say that in addition to volunteering with the Democratic Committee in 2014 and serving as president of the Young Democrats from 2016 to 2018, and last year I ran for town council. So I'm a networker, I'm a community organizer, I'm a listener, and while I haven't done any door knocking to date, you can expect to see me in your neighborhood sometime, in October with a face shield. I'll also be releasing some dates that I'll be hosting some virtual forums so that we can discuss any issues that you would like for me to keep top of mind, or anything, any blind spots that may exist within the board. So yeah, thank you.
Who's next?
Ms. Rodriguez.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So For me, I am an assistant superintendent of schools in a district in Middlesex County. So I am working most of my day. However, my plans were to retire September 1st, but due to COVID, I was asked to stay a little longer. But however, I plan to retire and spend my time giving back to this community that I love. I am a homeowner here. Right now, I watch the board meetings, I read the website, I speak to neighbors, and I'm looking forward to being more active moving forward.
Ms. Davidson.
One of the major roles of the board is to ensure two-way communication between the community and the board. And when I came 3 years ago, I came with a drive to improve this communication. Since then, we have increased participation from families with students with special needs on parent advisory councils. Same with families of students in the bilingual program. There's increased participation and outreach. The superintendent did a fantastic listening tour last year, but we do still need to have more systematic ways to connect with all of our stakeholders through listening tours, principal roundtables, and for board members to be out in the community talking to folks.
Okay, any comments to each other, questions, rebuttals? That's what it's all about, it's talking to the families. Okay, we are ready for closing statements. I want to just thank you for all of you who submitted questions, and I hope the answers have clarified to the voters the candidates' positions and will help you make informed, deliberate decisions in voting. As you all have said, we have a big budget and you're dealing with our most precious commodity, our children and their futures and educations. We'll have the closing statements. Before that, I want to remind you the November election is in New Jersey, is vote by mail. All active registered voters will receive vote by mail ballots. There's no need to apply for a vote by mail ballot. If a voter does not receive a vote by mail ballot, you can receive a provisional ballot at the polls on election day. Please follow the instructions on the ballot carefully, sign the certificate, but do not detach it, and plan to complete your ballot and return it as soon as possible. It must be postmarked by November 3rd, which is election day. For more information about all the candidates in all the offices running in town for school board, in the county, in the state, and nationally, visit vote411.org. And I would like to thank the League of Women Voters of the Morristown area for organizing this important event. And I'd like to thank all the candidates for giving their time to campaign and to serve their community. We will do the reverse alphabet order. So the closing statements will begin with Ms. Wall, Mr. Starnes, Ms. Rodriguez, and Ms. Davidson. And thank you all and lots of luck to everybody.
Thank you. Again, I would like to thank our hosts, our co-sponsors, my fellow candidates, and the viewers at home. I will leave you with this. I am extraordinarily passionate about our community. I have devoted nearly 2 decades to community service here in Morristown as both a leader and a volunteer. I'm also a mother of a young son who is just beginning his educational career in the Morris School District. Witnessing him experience school for the first time with such wide-eyed innocence, enthusiasm, and wonder has made me very eager to ensure that every child in our school district receives the best possible educational experience that our community can provide socially, emotionally, and academically. We need leaders on our school board who are deeply vested in our children and their educational experience, as well as someone who is committed to understanding what is going on both within our schools and out in the community. I am that leader. I hope you'll vote for Beth Wall on November 3rd or before with your mail-in ballot. Thank you.
Thank you, League of Women Voters. Thank you, NAACP. Thank you to my fellow candidates for participating this evening. Before the Amistad Law was passed, I was assigned a heritage project whereby we were supposed to give a presentation in front of the entire class. After I gave mine, the teacher pulled me aside and asked me to redo my project because I picked the United States, and I guess since I'm Black, I'm not supposed to be from here. So the teacher asked me to redo my assignment. And, you know, it's not my responsibility as a student to teach the teacher how the institution of slavery makes it impossible for me to know exactly where I'm from. And I'm not going to throw a dart at the continent of Africa and come back with a presentation for you. So I want to bring my experience, my life experience to this Morris School District Board of Education. I also want the voters to know I went to Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut, where I perhaps was classmates with the daughters, the sons, the nieces and nephews of some of the most powerful and richest people in our country. And so while I am not of that, you know, wealth, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I feel like there's a perception out there that there's something wrong with being wealthy. There isn't, but we all need to be together. And I'm certainly somebody who can speak to issues that are hurting the Black community, as well as make sure that nobody is left behind, whether they live in a big house or whether they live in an apartment building. So I'm that candidate, and I urge you to reach out to me on Facebook, send me an email, please. I'm eager to meet you, and I hope that you will vote for me on or before November 3rd. Thank you.
I also would like to thank the League of Women's Voters and also the NAACP for hosting tonight. It's been wonderful to hear my colleagues speak to the issues that are so important to all of us. For me, I am an English language learner. I came to this country from Cuba when I was 11 years old. So I very much identified with students and in our district who are having a similar experience. I have studied in this area. My doctorate was in curriculum and instruction and bilingual education. I have started a dual language program in Perth Amboy, New Jersey that is now from pre-K to 8th grade with over 3,000 students in it. Because I believe in bilingualism, the importance of multiculturalism, equity for all is in my veins, is what I live every day. And I think that I can bring some of those ideas when appropriate under the direction of our superintendent in a strategic plan. I will be there to help and give my insights to what I believe could be some things to consider for the future, knowing that my role is that of a policymaker and working together in communicating with everyone. Thank you.
I want to say thanks to the hosts, to the candidates who are obviously fantastic people, and to all of you for tuning in tonight, for spending your time to care about who is leading our district. And together we want all our children to reach their full potential. If I am elected, I will use my passion for education and my experience as a board member, an educator, a parent of an elementary student and a middle school student, and a community member to continue to push for academic achievement for all students. In this experience, I found that when we communicate and collaborate, our kids do better. When we support our teachers, our kids do better. When we set goals as a district and hold ourselves accountable, our kids do better. And when our kids do better, so does our community. So I ask for your vote tonight so we can continue to build strong schools and a strong community here in Morristown. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
That concludes the forum. Please, everybody, remember to vote. And good luck to everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.